After traveling for 10 miles and through 8 locks from Stanley Ferry this morning, we stopped on the Perseverance moorings just outside Dewsbury for a break. I took a walk into town to find some Indian snacks, and Jo had a bit of a rest. In fact, she was asleep when I came back, so she wasn't too pleased when I woke her up so we could carry on a bit further today. Before we can go anywhere, I need to clear out our propeller, which picked up some debris this morning.
It was just a big plastic bag.
It's not fouled too badly this time, it's mainly just some shredded plastic bags that need removing. Once it's clear, I replace the cover and hammer the retaining screw into place. Then I run the engine with the cover board off to check for leaks before we are ready to leave. The brick bridge is Thornhill Railway Bridge. And then we pass under a pipe bridge and the Schofield footbridge. The old mining village of Thornhill is, not ironically, just up the rather thorny hill to our right. This next bridge is very new. So new, in fact, that it apparently hasn't opened yet, as I found out when I was on my walk earlier today and found a footpath fenced off. This heavy construction work is part of the Trans-Pennine route upgrade, which is being done to improve rail journeys between Manchester, Huddersfield, Leeds, and York. Once built, there will be another new bridge, which will be called the Baker Viaduct. Presumably, it will make this rather ornate railway bridge redundant. Under more pipe bridges, and then through the Thornhill floodgates, where we rejoin the main river just above a weir. I love how the cormorants and ducks use the orange floats above the weir as little islands. The riverside is quite industrial along this stretch. Thornhill Power Station on the left-hand bank was opened in 1902. The river provided water for cooling and condensing steam, and barges would unload coal here. The power station closed in 1982. A new combined cycle gas turbine power station was commissioned in 1998. This new power station also uses water from the River Calder for its cooling system, and the water is then discharged back into the river. By the middle of the 19th century, there were many textile mills along the river. It was a center for what became known as the shoddy and mungo industries, which recycled woolen waste to make heavy hard-wearing fabrics. Before textiles, the main economy here was based on the production of malt for the breweries and coke from the mines. Thornhill Bridge carries Calder Road over the river here. Beyond the bridge, there is a concrete block manufacturer to the south of the river and a huge metal and waste recycling plant to the north, amongst other heavier industrial companies. Despite running through such an industrial area, the river does manage to stay quite pretty here.
Where's the,
I don't know. It says you have to turn.
The sun is getting lower in the sky as it gets later in the day, and we can barely see what's in front of us. We know we're approaching Greenwood Lock, but I can't see the lock or the lock landing to drop Jo off. Greenwood Lock has one of the shortest lock landings we've ever seen, and when you're on a river, that is not very helpful. To get the stern onto the landing to drop Jo off, the bow is nearly hitting the far side of the lock chamber.
okay. Can you, hold on, I've got a way of doing this. Not if I hit my leg into that. Ouch.
I know, George. So near and yet so far. Michael's now got wet hands.
You laughing at my roping skill still?
No, I'm just...
Exactly.
I wasn't laughing anyway. Right, you're going to have to lift George over because he's not doing this. Unless you can move forward by 2 foot.
I can move this forward. Not enough?
Nope.
Okay.
This doesn't feel safe at all. Oh.
In the scramble to get off the boat with George in the windlass, Jo leaves her walkie-talkie on the boat, so I can't ask her to wait for me to get out of the way before she opens the paddles. As the front half of the boat is sitting across the lock, I need to move out of the way pretty quickly, or the water from the emptying lock will shove the bow out into the river. Unfortunately, it turns out there's a log stuck behind one of the lower lock gates, blocking Jo from opening it, so she has to run around to the other side to open the gate and let me in.
What was that?
That log, got wedged.
All right.
The official maximum length for boats using this navigation is 57 feet 6 inches, which is pretty short. Most of the locks at this end of the Calder and Hebble have been extended, and longer boats can actually use them. Percy is just over 57 feet long, for example, but fits comfortably into all of the locks. However, as the CRT hasn't published the exact length of each lock, they still advise that boats over 57 feet avoid the whole of the Calder and Hebble.
Oh, big yawn, George. Are you ready to sleep?
I know I am. Bye, George. Not really. I'm not really going without you, George. Oh, good boy. Oh. So that was Greenwood Lock.
Greenwood Cut is only about a half-mile long, and there's a small island between the cut and the main river, which runs parallel with the cut to the south. There's a small industrial estate on the island, which is home to many businesses. The Greenwood floodgates are open, and we pass under the bridge that carries the one road on and off the little island. Through the gates, and the channel widens as we rejoin the main river above the weir. It's only a very short distance around this sweeping bend in the river to Shepley Bridge Lock, which also sports another very short lock landing. This one is occupied by two boys who are fishing, which adds a slight complication in dropping Jo and George off.
Wait, is he fencing?
No, this is what. Alright, I need to take a walkie-talkie, because we didn't have one last
That's
time.
a walkie-talkie?
Yep.
Okay. I still can't, I can't see. As soon as that bridge comes into the pathway, now I can see. Okay, cool.
Oh, mind your rod in case we hit it. That one there.
The water is already down, so I move Perseverance into the entrance channel, while Jo goes to open the gates. That's when she discovers that there's a log floating in this lock chamber as well, once again blocking one of the gates. It's at this lock that George decides to try and make a run for it. I think he just wanted to see the boys fishing on the lock to see if they had any food or tasty bait. He was brought back to us with his tail between his legs and neither fish or worms in his mouth.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'll come and get him.
George, did you get loose?
Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. Come on, George.
George tried to make a break for it. No, most likely George steal somebody's sandwich.
George, you're going to get squished.
Above the lock is Shepley Bridge Marina and a lot of moored boats. The sun's even lower in the sky now, and we can hardly see what's in the channel in front of us. Jo goes to sit in the bow, and while she can barely see any better there, at least she can warn me if I'm about to hit anything. There's some visitor moorings along Mirfield Cut, but we're going to keep going for now as we hope to make it to Cooper Bridge and the junction with the Huddersfield Broad Canal. We're now passing the town of Mirfield, which sits to the north of the river. The town has a history of boat building, as well as the usual Calder textile mills. At the end of the cut is Mirfield Marina, which is crammed full of boats, and then we arrive at the Leadguard floodgates. For the first time today, we find the floodgates have been closed. Jo has memories of these gates being really tough to open, so she takes over the driving, leaving me to work the lock with the handspike. The lock is pretty big and of quite an unusual shape. There's hardly any difference in the water levels above and below the gates, but the water won't equalize. We're stuck here for ages while I battle to get the gates open. Finally I succeed and Jo brings the boat out. Rather than going to the lock landing, she just stops outside the gates, and once I have them shut, I can jump onto the stern. These posts are all that remains of the Heaton Lodge and Wortley Line railway bridge. There seems to be some trees trying to grow out of the top of them. The town is to the north of us and is quite urban, but to the south of the river, things feel a lot more rural. After about a mile on the river, we reach Battyeford Lock. It's a fairly uneventful passage through the lock, and then we spot a visitor mooring just above, opposite the South Pennine Boat Club. We decide to finally call it a day and stop here. It's only another mile to the moorings at Cooper Bridge, but it's getting dark and it doesn't seem sensible to carry on.
So we didn't get as far as Cooper Bridge.
No, not quite.
Nearly, and I think we would have if we hadn't been, if the Mirfield, was it called Floodlock?
Yeah, something like that. I think it's actually got an L in the name because it's named after that big building that said bridge on it.
It wasn't Mirfield, it was
Mirfield's the area.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's like Lay Bridge or something like that. Anyway,
it's a big floodlock, and it's all controlled by the handspike.
And once you get the handspike thing out and you actually get them filling, it only had to fill about that far.
It just took ridiculous long time, and
well, because it's that huge pound, because it's like that diagonal.
And you have to walk a long way from one end to the other.
Yeah, and then the gates. One of them is very short, and in order to push it...
The gate's not short, but the balance beam's short.
The balance beam is very short, and the end of the balance beam overhangs a pedestrian walkway, so you've got about an 8-foot drop. So it's like you've really got to reef on that thing to get it open. The problem with the lock, ultimately, is that flood lock didn't actually need to be closed. Like, it was closed because it must have been in the red earlier or something, so it was just left closed. It was in the yellow. There was only a tiny amount of difference. If the thing had been left open, the canal would have gone up that quarter of an inch.
Yeah, and everything would have been fine.
Everything would have been fine. The flood lock didn't actually have to be closed. But
so
I wanted to close it back up again.
You wanted to leave it like we found it.
Yeah, and those iron bars, holy cow, are those things heavy. Like, they're just backstays to keep the doors from swinging. Yeah. But they've just got like a little hoop of iron at one end, and they're on a big hoop. And so they can only sort of swing up and then over and then down. And that one is in this funny position, like on the right-hand side, it wasn't a problem. It was like, grab it, lift it up, move it over, put it into its little locking place.
Yeah.
You're going back, you got to go lift it up, move it over, drop it down. There's a little place in the ground where it goes in. It's not hard. But the thing is that in order to get all that leverage, you have to be where on the other gate you're hanging out over the air.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I do-
how the hell do I do this?
I do remember that lock from last time when we were coming the other way and it broke my back. And I didn't quite realise, but you drove into the lock and I looked all there and I was like, I haven't got the energy. I was like, Michael, I'm driving. You're doing it. Anyway, the sun's going down. It's been a really good day. We were out at dawn in the last video, which was this morning, and it's sunset now. So
Sunset now. The breath is cooling down because it's with the sun going down. It's getting quite cold.
Yeah, it's quite mild.
Which is why we're probably going to regret not having the fire tonight.
Maybe.
The fire went out. Well, basically, I think that our the diesel tank that we're sitting on has gone empty, which is, convenient that we're getting into a place where there's a nice big diesel tap. Even though if this is empty, that's going to be a lot of money.
Yeah.
But at least we'll have heat.
Has been nice keeping us warm all this time.
Yeah, and it dries everything out.
And I don't think we've necessarily needed it on as much as we've had, but it's just been nice.
I feel I've needed it.
Yeah.
One of the problems with losing the extra insulation is that, man, I feel the cold now.
Our water will be piping hot right now.
Oh, that's true.
Mm.
Yeah. Which means I can get clean.
Let's go in. Let's stop talking.
I would like to have a shower after having stuck my arm down
Oh yeah, you should do.
the weed hatch again.
All right.
So, thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, subscribe to Minimalist Maximal Velocity if you want to, and more. If you want to watch our
Talking at the tillers
and things.
real times,
Yeah.
cooking.
Yeah, we should do some more cooking videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. We really should have recorded a talking tiller today.
Oh yeah, if it hadn't been raining, that would have been a good one.
Yeah.
We'll have to rehab that conversation at some point.
I'll no doubt forget everything I said, so we can do it again. So yeah, there we are. See you soon. I go sleep now.